Hey, what's up, everyone? I think we're about to get started. We are ready to go. It's been a long time since I've been on stream. Here I am right now in Hawaii. Uh, and I just spent more than a week, around 10 days in the States. I was in Seattle and then Toronto and then New York. Insane jet lag basically the entire time. Crazy, crazy tiring. And even now in Hawaii, I have some pretty severe jet lag because those are three different time zones, four different time zones if you include where I first started. So, been a little bit crazy, but now I'm getting back into a rhythm of things. Also, I'm in Hawaii. Honestly, what can I complain about? I mean, wait, is that a good view? Yeah, you can't really see. Okay, you can't really see what I'm seeing, but basically, it's a nothing to complain about. It's a good place to be. Here I am with my family, doing a family trip, but just squeezing in a little bit of streaming before I get into dinner time. So, well, here we are. I'm gonna go into where are we right now? Into the bell jar. Where's the bell jar? Okay, I'm gonna go into the bell jar, and we're at chapter 9. I honestly have kind of forgotten the position that I'm in, and hopefully I can get back to sort of remembering what all is happening as I get into it now. Oh, something's weird with my, oh, I see. Let me just fix a quick bit of technical issues. And let me actually just double check because I'm on a new setup, so I need to make sure that my audio is coming through okay. Um, yeah, it sounds like it looks like it should be fine. I'm gonna just do a double check though. Okay, so I'm just gonna listen. Okay, yeah, it looks fine. Okay, testing. All right, so our audio is fine. Let's get into chapter 9. Let me remember what happened here. Buddy's face. Oh, she gets injured. And Buddy's really happy. And now we're getting into the really hard part of the story, which is the downward spiral that begins with in this medical institution, the sanatorium that she's at. I just realized one thing. I realized that I didn't announce to my Discord server that I'm actually streaming, so I'm gonna just get that out of the way. Okay, and we're gonna go into chapters 9 and 10. Okay, we're changing setting right now. I'm so glad they're going to die. I don't know what we're talking about. Here we go. Although it is a little morbid. Hilda arched her cat limbs. So this is Hilda. We're getting introduced to one of the characters in her life right now. Ooh, I forgot to switch up my view, so I'll switch it to here. Okay. What is this bilious green straw? Bio green. They were promoting it for fall. It's like a hat. We're just being a little snarky about fashion trends. I'm so glad that the fashion trends are gonna die. I can't tell what she's talking about. And she really doesn't like Hilda. She's cursing that she has to be with Hilda right now. After a late night, I felt too dull to think up the excuse that would take me back to my room for the glove. She had a lot of excuses to get away from Hilda, but she was too dull to remember to use one of these excuses. So here she is, stuck with Hilda, just chatting with her. Long dead walk from the frosted glass roots of the Amazon. The Amazon to the strawberry marbles. Madison Avenue. What is this? Are we hallucinating the locate? Are these names of the rooms right now? Oh, we're at. Oh, I forgot. The Amazon's the name of the hotel. Um, so we're not at the sanatorium. We're in the hotel cafeteria. So we are okay. So this is something I mentioned in my first stream, the first 5 chapters. Um, this book is a little bit technically or formally innovative in the sense that it kind of switches scenes and settings without much explanation at all. Now I'm trying to remember if Hilda's a name that we had before. So let me go and try to. Oh, Hilda is a name we had before. Hilda is the chick that makes she makes like the little fur pieces, the little fashion pieces. Like she kind of scoops them up. And she was kind of rustic, right? She was not urbane. Is that the idea here? I think we didn't really like Hilda, or the main character didn't really like Hilda. All right, so we have that. So we're just sort of, we're flashing back, probably not flashing forward, to some random scene with Hilda at the hotel. Okay, it's taking me a while to pick up where I used to be, so this is, I'm just a little slow right now. A play possessed by a Dybbuk. What's a Dybbuk? It's a spirit, and when the Dybbuk spoke, sounded cavernous. You couldn't tell if it's a man or a woman. Hilda's voice sounded like a Dybbuk's. Rosenberg's. And the Rosenbergs is actually comes out in the first chapter. The very first, the whole book opens up with the Rosenbergs. We're talking about electrocution. It's awful. Such people should be alive. So they are seeing these things differently. We don't like each other. I'm so glad they're going to die. There we go. There we go. Now we know what we're talking about. We're talking about the Rosenbergs. Interesting. That's interesting. Interesting callback to the first chapter. I wonder why we're kind of, I wonder what's going on with the Rosenbergs. Let me kind of remind myself of that first chapter really quickly. It's been a long time. Okay. It's a queer, sultry summer. The summer they electrocuted the Rosenbergs. I didn't know what I was doing in New York. I'm stupid about executions. Electrocution makes me sick. Being burned alive along all your nerves must be the worst thing in the world. New York was bad enough, which is kind of funny in retrospect. Rosenbergs over and over. It was like the first time I saw a cadaver. Just kept thinking about the Rosenbergs. We're just obsessing about this image of being electrocuted. All she could think about was the Rosenbergs, how stupid she'd been to buy all those uncomfortable clothes. I'm supposed to be having the time of my life, but I'm not actually having the time of my life. Okay, so Rosenbergs were a Jewish couple that was accused of selling U.S. government secrets to Russia. To communist Russia? Is that the idea? I'm actually forgetting already. Let's go quickly do a check on this. Spying for the Soviet Union, top secret information. And I think there was a bit about, for decades, many people maintained that. So there was a whole backlash that actually it was maybe anti-Semitic. They were actually innocent. They were just victims of Cold War paranoia. But it turns out, in retrospect, be after that time, we're kind of figuring out it, they were basically guilty. Okay. So that's what I remember. We can just go back to the book. Rosenberg's. And this Hilda chick is saying, I'm so glad they're going to die. So interesting because I feel like we're foreshadowing a little bit. We got the main character, Esther. Is it Esther? Esther Greenwood. She's obsessing about death. And I'm assuming by the end of the story she kills herself, but maybe not, but probably, right? And then we have this Hilda character that she doesn't even like. And Hilda is just glad that the Rosenbergs are going to die. And so that probably feeds into the paranoia. What if people are glad that I kill myself? I'm kind of just seeing that. Probably that feeds into the suicide that eventually happens in this story. Here we go. Come on, give us a smile. She didn't want to get pictures taken because she was going to cry. Okay, so we're now trying to figure out why she was all emotional. To show what we want it to be. Oh, maybe this is the thing she doesn't know. When they ask me what I want it to be, I don't know. Okay, I see. Betsy wanted to be a farmer's wife. Hilda wanted to be a hat maker. Social worker in India. She didn't really, she told me. She only wanted to get her hands on a sari, which is funny. And this is calling back to that fig tree image where there's so many possibilities for this young, bright girl, but she can't make a choice. She doesn't know what she wants. Oh, sure, I said I want to be a poet, a book of poems, but that's too obvious. Paper Rose. Write a poem. So she's going to, I don't know what a paper rose is, honestly, but anyway, she's going to pretend to write for this little photo shoot. Keep the line of my mouth level. We're fixating on how to smile. At last, obediently, my mouth quirked up. You look like you're going to cry. Couldn't stop. Does she actually cry? The salt tears burst out. And she's crying at the photo shoot. JC also vanishes. A relief to be... Wait, the animal. I felt limp and betrayed like the skin shed by a terrible animal. I am the skin of an animal I am shedding. I fumbled in my pocketbook for makeup. My face looks bad. I painted it with a small heart. Manuscripts. Do some reading. Chill out. Oh, hang on. Every morning, an avalanche of manuscripts are the fiction editor's life. So we're talking about the job of a fiction editor. I can't speak right now. So she's actually imagining a different job now. She's imagining a fiction editor's job. Man, this is such a New York book. Pristine imaginary manuscript floating midair. Very small class. And she got accepted to this class, so she's talented as a writer. She was sure she'd find a letter of acceptance. I decided I'd surprise JC, sending a couple of stories I wrote under a pseudonym. A cut above the usual, accept them. Okay, so this is all her hopes, but hasn't actually happened. which is interesting. Honestly, Doreen said this one will be different. Tell me about him. It's interesting because her writing is her primary source of confidence, right? So, um, what happens to that when she gets injured? Doreen is the kind of wild one, right? Yeah, 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 yeah. She's the one who has lots of fun, hangs out with that cowboy guy. Yeah, the one that we like. They're ugly as Aztecs. Man, Esther Greenwood is not a very sympathetic character, man. At least not in 2020, not in 2024. Ugh, dude. Kind of just like annoyingly teenage-ish to me. Um, Friend of somebody Lenny knew, which is different from a friend of Lenny's. Okay, just like a kind of funny little line. I gave it up. I can't do any. Oh, those last days. Those last days. That's a whole. It's very foreboding. Expensive clothes. Perplexed. She doesn't like these expensive clothes of hers. I just can't face these clothes when I come back. That's easy. Strapless bra. Wait, so she started to snatch them up as in like take them for herself? Oh, she just hid them. Okay. So they're going to this party. The person that Lenny knew. Okay, so this is so now Doreen is now flirting with this new guy. Observer to another man, white suit, stick pin. What's a stick pin? Oh yeah, yeah, yeah. A great white light seemed to shoot out of it. Wait, what? The stick pin. Oh, I see. Her first diamond. Wait, her first diamond. Give it to her, Marco. Okay, yeah. So apparently, this little country girl, Esther Greenwood, is looking at this stick pin with a diamond on at the end of it, and she kind of notices it and looks at it so um, gets so captivated by it, but everyone around her notices that she's captivated by it and then lets her look at it, which is kind of an embarrassing little thing. But she's actually really into this diamond, and I guess maybe like 70 years ago, the diamond was more of a novelty. I bet diamonds were less commonly given for weddings, and now they've kind of entered the default um, of the mainstream culture. But maybe back then it was kind of more amazing to see one. So this guy Marco is hitting on Esther. A thumbprint. Four small, faint matching prints. Hang on. I'm kind of confused. What? He just squeezed her arm, and then what happened? Marco's like a little snake. A woman hater. I kind of like this. Kind of like this. I kind of like this characterization. It's a. It's a description of a type of person that nowadays we have like quick little stereotypes for, or like quick shortcuts for, but she's not using any of these shortcuts. She's kind of fully describing this experience. A woman hater who sees me as just the card that has been dealt to him for that night. She's just drinking daiquiris, not knowing. I can't dance to that kind of music. Don't be stupid. I want to just drink. He's forcing her to dance. I love tangos. I can't dance. You don't have to do the dance. I'll do the dancing. Pretend you're drowning. The music broke over me like a rainstorm, which is kind of an interesting image. Riveted to him limb for limb, moving as he moved, without any will or knowledge of my own. It only takes one. Okay? I began to see why woman haters can make such fools of women. Woman haters were like gods. Uncomfortable scene, to be honest. Very uncomfortable. Yeah, not. There's not a happy scene. Okay, I don't feel good about that scene. No moon, so it's dark. He's going into the garden with her, and he's leading specifically. I'm saying going with her, but that's basically not the right wording. He's kind of pulling her there probably to some extent, and she's following along too. So I don't, it's never. Obviously, it's like these situations are complicated, right? She's following along, but it's not exactly her will. Exaggerated shadows, like a refugee's. Who are you in love with? I said. Oh, interesting question to pose to a guy who's aggressively putting himself onto her. And he changes the topic. He talks about his smoke ring. Perfect. Oof. I'm in love with my cousin. He just says that. Impossible. None. First cousin. No one to touch her. Does she know you love her? The obstacle seemed unreal to me. What is that even referring to? If you love her, you'll love somebody else someday. The ground soared, struck me with a soft shot. Okay, this is a bad scene, dude. Dude, I don't want to read this. Waited until I half rose, and then put both hands on my shoulders and flung me back. Oh, dude, my dress, your dress. Your dress. He is raping her in the mud. This is horrible. Oh, fucking hell, dude. the dirt is black as well. He's knowingly, okay, horrible. He's blackening her. If I just lie here and do nothing, it will happen. Teeth to the strap of my shoulder, tore my sheath to the waist, bare skin, and he calls her a slut. Oh my fucking goodness. This scene is too much. I saw the glimmer of bare skin like a pale veil separating two bloody-minded adversaries, like a pale veil, two. Okay, we're describing the dress that he is now opening. Writhe and bite. This is. This, I gouged at his leg with the heel of my shoe. Okay. Ugh. Smashed the fingers at his nose. Pulled out a white handkerchief, dabbed his nose, blackness spread over the pale cloth. Insane. I did not expect the scene, and I don't know why I didn't expect the scene, actually. Why didn't I expect the scene? No one set me up for this scene, by the way, in any of the pre-reading. Jesus. Sudeep, welcome. You came at the most insane time. Dude. I want Doreen. So the rape ended. Sluts, all sluts. Insane. I mean, what a different fucking world. You're at a party, you're dressed in suits, you're at a big party in the suburbs of New York. You're all dressed in suits, and the impunity, man, insane. Imagine, dude, in God, what a world, what a horrible, shitty world. Honestly, the horrible, shitty world of this time. Two facets really stick out at me. Maybe three, but let me start with the two that I can think of right now. The first one is, oh God, the first one is just the horrible medical institutions of this world, but the second one is just the complete impunity with which the men of this world use the women of this world. So, God, and just like imagine being at a party with other people that you know, and just like taking a woman out to the garden and trying to rape her, and you're gonna be that woman is gonna have mud on her dress, and you're gonna have mud on your suit. So when you come back, it's gonna be obvious what you tried to do, and yet you still do it. Insane. Like, can't even imagine that kind of world. Horrible, and I don't. It's not like. God. And then Marco's like, sluts, all sluts. So he pins her down and calls her a slut and begins to rape her. Go to the parking lot, look in the backs of all the cars. He spins around. The one thing that's kind of makes this scene less horrible is that she actually manages to stop him. My diamond, so he blocks the path. He wipes his finger under his bloody nose and stains her cheek. Now she's kind of attempting to steal his diamond, which is a whole other thing. Suddenly I didn't care because he's threatening to break her neck, which is a whole thing that also is crazy. And she's being she has enough presence of mind to be sarcastic. It's in my imitation jet bead evening bag. Like this bit of irony here, which is like it's actually painting Esther Green. Now we have an Esther Green who's a little strong. Actually, she's strong enough to fight off this guy and not to just let him onto her. I mean, whatever. And then okay, that's complicated. I don't want to I kind of regret the word choice that I just used, but anyway, she fought him off in this story, and now she's kind of making fun of the situation to some extent by contrasting the diamond with her imitation jet bead evening bag in the midst of a very tense situation. A very violent situation, actually. So the fact that she's even saying this is kind of like a gotcha moment to some extent. To not be submissive. That's a wording. Yeah, I mean, there's more wordings that are out there. I don't know the right one right now for this, but anyway. Now, she is getting a bit of a comeuppance here, where she leaves Marco searching in the darkness for his diamond in the mud. Now, I forgot to mention this earlier, but because I was actually a little overwhelmed, but Marco snorts, go to the parking lot, look in the backs of all the cars. In Marco's in his worldview, all women are just sluts, and they're all just having sex, and they're all just objects that I can pick them for sex. So that's kind of like this character that we just kind of encountered in this chapter, in chapter 9. And now we're actually getting Doreen. And where is Doreen? We don't find her. Not in the parking lot. Not in the ballroom. Where is she? She has her bare breasts. Grass plastered to my dress and shoes. Black stole covered. So her dress was like ripped, apparently. So what the hell is going on? This is actually what a crazy ass scene. And a lot of cars. Okay, so people are finally, going home. The sunroof. So she's at I don't know what a sunroof is specifically for a hotel, but anyway, she's at the top. She's at the edge of the parapet, at the edge of the wall of the roof. The parapet reached almost to her shoulders. And she's climbing onto the seat. Now so this is like a suicide scene. She's at the edge of a roof of the hotel. At my feet, the city doused its lights in sleep, its buildings blackened as if for a funeral. It was my last night. Okay, so, wait, that would be crazy if she actually dies here, because that would really mess up the chronology of this story. It's interesting though. I feel like, I don't know, because I haven't read a lot of literature in this vein. I wonder if this story is the one that kind of like a lot of the scenes that are portrayed in this story are scenes that then get replayed in like the movies that I grew up watching, or like the music videos even that I came watching, and it feels like this story itself, the bell jar was the one that might have originated a lot of these images, because the bell jar was famous for being so quote unquote confessional. Sylvia Plath, I don't know if she is considered one of the confessional poets. I don't think she is, but she was kind of in that same milieu. And we're kind of exposing. Like in a sort of repressive era when you're not supposed to talk about these things, she was one of the poets who really spoke about like twisted thoughts and really personal details that you're not really supposed to share. And she, with a couple other poets, were the ones that really kind of like brought that about. And so I wouldn't be surprised if the scenes in this story are the ones that then became the cliches in the movies later on, like this dangling your feet at the edge of the roof, right? Thinking about killing yourself, right? That's a scene that you've probably seen that scene, in some movies, and even if you don't even live it, even if the movies you're watching are not even American movies, you've probably seen a scene like that. Uh, yeah, okay, that's just a tangent. Here we go. Now, what I can't tell right now is I can't tell if this is the same. I can't tell if this is the same scene, as in, did she just get back home? And so is she still wearing that dress? I can't tell right now. It does feel like it is the same scene, though. So she's still wearing the same dress. I grasped the bundle I carried. The bundle I carried must be a part of the dress, and pulled at the pale tail of the dress. A strapless, elasticized slip, which in the course of wear had lost its elasticity, slumped into my hand. I waved it like a flag of truce once, twice. The breeze caught it, and I let go. Okay, so this is a part of her dress, I think, and now she is dropping it down the building, the hotel side. The breeze caught it, let go. A white flake floated out into the night. So this is like kind of like if you're gonna kill yourself, right, you're gonna see the drop. So she's sort of dropping this thing and seeing the slow descent of her dress, of the bundle. And she feeds her wardrobe to the night wind. And she's kind of shedding herself to New York. She's sort of surrendering. And she calls this her last night. So this is like this meaningful symbol of her sort of like letting go of herself. But we'll see what happens. So she actually doesn't kill herself that night. Dude. That chapter 9 was freaking, that was so intense, man. I did not enjoy that. that was, because it is a different world. I mean, you do have in the 2000s and 90s, you do have scenes of like implied rape, but that was a little bit brutal. It was very explicit. It was not that was not pleasant, and it's not supposed to be pleasant. Obviously, like that's the whole point. Just to make that obvious point. Here we go. The face in the mirror looked like a sick Indian. Now, this is the thing. I will make a quick comment. This is the thread that a lot of modern readers pick up on. Esther Greenwood and Sylvia Plath herself, perhaps, uses a lot of pretty lazy racist descriptions of what is ugly. So short things are ugly, Indians are ugly, Aztecs are ugly. I forget that, but there's a bunch of things that are ugly in the worldview of this character. And to what extent is that actually Sylvia Plath herself? Did Sylvia Plath in her lifetime use these analogies to describe ugly things? Maybe she did, maybe she didn't. I don't know enough about Sylvia Plath to make that judgment. But at least Esther Greenwood, for sure, has a very lazy habit of like describing ugly things with racist terminology, basically. And it is a little annoying. I mean, I don't like it. It's annoying. Does it upset me so much that I'm gonna do TikTok videos, lambasting this book and telling you not to read this book? No, I think you might still want to read the book, but it is annoying and irritating to read these like little lines like the face in the mirror looked like a sick Indian. Like if I was Indian, I'd be like, bruh, what the, I'd be annoyed, right? Like it's just like, come on, you could write better, you don't have to write like that. That's annoying. So that's where I stand so far on all the sort of antiquated racist terminology that comes out here. Yeah, and by the way, Sudeep, with the guy saving the girl, yeah, that definitely, yeah. Well, because Hollywood has to sell the movies, they can't be too edgy. So That's probably where you get like the more vanilla version of stories, like the rose tinted versions of stories. But the imagery, I feel like I wonder honestly, I really do wonder if there was anyone who has ever written that scene before Sylvia Plath, the scene of a girl in her dress dangling her feet at the edge of the parapet at the top of a hotel, right? Or a similar scene. I would not be surprised if the scene I just read was the very first time in English literature that that scene was written. The compact mirror. She's looking out a train window now. Connecticut. Ugly Connecticut. Unfamiliar skirt and blouse. She bought a new skirt and blouse, and she's kind of shedding all of her old expensive wardrobe, right? And she even shed that dress at the top of the hotel, which is kind of an interesting image. A skirt was a green dirndl with tiny. What is a dirndl? Full skirt, close-fitting bodice. Okay. Stuck out like a lampshade. Instead of sleeves, frills. Okay, it's kind of maybe more conservative. I can't tell. I'd forgotten to save any day clothes. So Betsy. Oh, Betsy. Betsy is one of the farmish girls, right? So yeah, with cornflowers on it. So she's wearing kind of like farm style dress. Pollyanna cowgirl, I said out loud. Oh, this is like the next day morning. It's like the morning of the next day. She still has two diagonal lines of dried blood on her cheeks. And I thought I would carry them around with me like the relic of a dead lover till they wore off on their own accord. Oh my God, the emo girls of high school that I remember from 2000s, they would have said the same thing. It's interesting though, isn't that? I mean, it's to me it's a little cliche but it's only cliche because I already know the 2000s and I know the girls who probably have read the books or have been consuming artworks by other people who've read this book, and so this becomes like a common like sort of language as this language of irony where, hey, my rapist, my attempted rapist, left like two diagonal streaks of his blood on my face, and you know what? I'm not gonna wash it. I'm gonna keep it around with me, right? There's a bit of self-awareness and irony and kind of like perverse like enjoyment that's happening there. That whole like ethos, that whole sort of style, that came, I think, into full bloom in I feel like that was like a whole thing in the 2000s, and maybe it still is to this day with like the edgy girls of your generation. I don't know because I don't hang out with the edgy girls of your generation. I'm too old for you guys. But like that whole thing, that whole like aesthetic and that whole like way of being. Oh my God! To me, it's a little cliche, but it's funny seeing how it started here, how it probably started in this book, which is, dude. I mean, it's kind of funny, if anything. But yeah, I mean, dude. Wear those two blood streaks, hell yeah. I didn't really see why people should look at me. Plenty of people looked weirder than I did, but that's pretty freaking weird, man. Avocados. Route 128. Route 128. She's leaving into the suburbs now. She's in the suburbs, lawns, station wagons, tennis rack. Station wagon is a type of car, by the way, that we no longer really see. My mom. Okay, she's going back to her mom. Cut myself. Wow, crazy. Just tells her life. Crazy. She's bearing the mark. This actually is it's an interesting, I don't know if she's doing this on purpose, but it kind of has a weird callback to the Scarlet Letter, man. The Scarlet Letter that Hester Prynne has to wear is, I think, a red A for adulterer or something like that, right? It's like a red A. Now, a red A has two diagonals and then a cross between. She has two diagonals on her cheek, and she is wearing her quote unquote scarlet letter on her face. So, except now it's like an ironized version of it. The scarlet letter was actually something where Hester Prynne was originally shameful of and then kind of wears with pride, something like that. I don't fully remember that story. But here we have this sort of like, it's not her sin, it's actually the guy's sin, the guy who tries to rape her, and she just wears it on her face. It very, very much feels like the scarlet letter. Anyway, here we go. The car. You didn't make that writing course. Oh, so her source of confidence. I was foreshadowing this earlier. Her source of confidence. She actually doesn't make it. She wants, the one thing that she actually does want to be is a poet. And now, like, it's like applying for college and not getting it. Now she's not going to get it. Identical clapboard houses. A summer in the suburbs. And I don't know if you know what an American suburb looks like, but every time I come back to America and I see the suburbs, I think the same thing. These identical houses, they're very noticeable. So she's alone at home. This carriage wheel, wait, the car door opens, the t-shirt. The carriage wheels, where's the carriage wheel? Where's that coming from? Okay, I don't know. I don't think it's that important. Akenden, spiteful neighbor, retired nurse, third husband. The other two died in curious circumstances, like she killed them. She stares from behind the windows, creepy. Okay. Kissing somebody. Walking half naked. So she's very nosy, annoying neighbor. A woman not 5 feet tall, wheeling an old black baby. Old black baby carriage, sorry. So, it's like old black baby. Various sizes. Religious smile. Dodo Conway, Catholic. Barnard, so smart lady. Architect, Columbia. Catholic. Okay, interesting. This kind of feeds into the general theme about career options for intellectually gifted girls. And this is like the future that she has. It's the stuff of suburbia. The future that she has. You go to Barnard, you come back, and you live in suburbia as a wife, as a Catholic wife, taking care of these 3 musty babies. You know what I mean? And it's obviously not interesting to Esther Greenwood. She wants something else. She wants to be a poet. She has a very big house. And she has a nicer house, I guess. And she has pine trees that covers the windows, so you can't just stare in, presumably, is kind of the general idea that I'm getting here. 6 children, Rice Krispies, oh my God, such Americana. Peanut butter marshmallow sandwiches. Everyone loved Dodo. Lots of kids because She's Catholic and prosperous. Children made me sick. Uncover her, crouching there behind the silver pickets of the radiator. Because she's watching through the window, I think. This Catholic lady with the almost seven children is kind of piercing her heart. Wait, there's a ringing. Telephone ringing, okay. Hello, Esther, what's the matter? Have you got laryngitis? Cambridge, Jody, co-op, summer, sociology. Okay, so Jody also is a college girl calling from Cambridge, so maybe Harvard. Okay, she and... I'm not coming, I'm not making the course. Is this the writing course? Yeah. Yeah. And I've been planning to move in with them. Okay. He's an ass. He doesn't know a good thing when he sees it. My sentiments exactly. Take some other course. Just come to Harvard. German or some psychology. You better count me out. So she's kind of quitting on this idea. So she's pretty depressed, right? I should have said I would come. I knew I should have said I would come. You really should. I mean, just as a person, I really want, in your situation, if you are Esther Greenwood and this is your situation, you should force yourself out of the house because you're depressed. You need to not just stay alone. I made a point of never leaving my house with my mother for more than a week, listening to Conway's Baby Carriage. Yale Stationery, Buddy Willard. Wait, I'm losing track. Since I wasn't accepted for the writing course, I said I could choose some other course instead. Too late to register. Courses were almost full. So there's two letters, and that's where I got lost. There's a letter from Buddy Willard, and there's also a letter from the summer school, and I got confused. Okay. And when it says listen to the zombie voice, she's talking about her own hollow voice. I see. So she really isn't going to go to Harvard or whatever that place is. She's not going to do summer school, just like she told her friend. Probably falling in love with the nurse who also had TB. Adirondacks. Mere infatuation. What a weird way of flirting. Okay. Wrote that I was engaged to a simultaneous interpreter. This is the UN guy, and never wanted to see Buddy again. I did not want to give my children a hypocrite for a father. So I'm kind of confused about the chronology. I thought that she was going to be stuck in the sanatorium, but now she's back out in society. And where or when is this situation happening? Is this before the injury or is this after the injury? I'm confused. I would spend the summer writing a novel. That's a good plan. I'm glad she made that plan. So she's feeding the first virgin sheet into her old portable, which I think is a typewriter, okay? And she rolled it up so that she could write. She's rolling up this piece of paper so she can type onto it. I'm pretty sure that's what's happening. Elaine. Yes, she's Elaine, Esther, same. And Sylvia, by the way. Elaine, Esther, Sylvia, all three of them, 6 letters. Lucky number 6. Which is not lucky, by the way. Um, drops of sweat like insects. She's stuck with the writing. The barefoot doll stared into space. Why, honey, don't you want to get dressed? My mother took care never to tell me to do anything. She would only reason with me. It's almost 3. I'm writing a novel. I don't want to change my clothes. Okay, such a funny way. I didn't move. Inertia oozed. Malaria. At that rate, I'd be lucky if I wrote a page a day. I needed experience. How could I write about life when I never had a love affair or a baby or even seen anybody die? A girl I knew had just won a prize for a short story about her adventures among the pygmies in Africa. How could I compete? I needed experience. Nerdiness emitting, exactly. By the end of summer, my mother had convinced me I should study shorthand. 2 birds, 1 stone. Writing a novel, learning something practical, saving a lot of money. Saving a lot of money, possibly. I think this is because ink and paper is actually expensive. I'm guessing. I'm guessing that the ink and paper for writing on the novel is actually kind of expensive, which is like a foreign notion to some of us nowadays, because writing for us nowadays is basically free as long as you have a computer. Obviously, a computer is not free, but a computer is necessary for the rest of life. So basically, everyone will have a computer. Yeah, interesting. Interesting bit of time travel there. There wasn't one job I felt like doing where you use shorthand because she doesn't like the idea of being like a secretary, right? Terrible headache, went to bed. They sleep in the same room, I guess? Yeah. I decided I would put off the novel until I'd gone to Europe and had a lover. I'm not gonna learn shorthand. So she's going back on her own plan. Man, this girl is hopeless. Jeez, do something. This is frustrating. I would spend the summer reading Finnegan's Wake and writing my thesis. So she's changing her plan. She's not gonna write a novel. So she's saying no to summer school, which I really think probably if I were her like brother or something, I'd be like, just go to summer school, man. Just go see people, be at Harvard, be at Cambridge, meet people, do things with your life, right? But now she's gonna write a novel, which I was like okay with. But now she's just gonna read and write a thesis. Just do something. Make a choice. Maybe I would do a pottery maker, or maybe I'll go to Germany and be a waitress. Okay, yeah. So this is like in today's parlance, we call this kind of person ADHD, and we would have a bunch of TikToks about um, how to be like a girl boss when when you have ADHD or whatever. But but before we had all those TikToks and those YouTube videos, what was an ADHD person to do, especially when they're smart and especially when they're a girl and they don't really have that many options, right? So this is kind of that story. She's actually only 19, by the way. I thought she was closer to like 22, but she's only 19. She's kind of disgusted by the sound of her mother. She can't sleep. River Run, past Even Adams, from Swerve of Shore to Bend of Bay, brings us back by Commodius Vicus of recirculation back to Howth Castle and environs. The thick book made an unpleasant dent in my stomach. River Run, past Even Adams. So this is Finnegan's Wake, right? So Finnegan's Wake is modernist, James Joyce, not easy reading. Even Adams was Adam and Eve, of course, but it signified something else as well. Maybe it was a pub. Alphabet soup of letters to the long word in the middle of the page. She's not really reading the whole thing. She's just noticing this long word in the middle of the page. Ba 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 dalgarag. This is an actual quotation from Finnegan's Wake. Exactly 100 letters. That must be important. Why should there be 100 letters? I tried the word aloud. Ba 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 dalgaraga. Takarnran kam brandan don tun trovar hun anskan tuhu orden and turdanuk. Okay, that was me. I had to try it. It sounded like a heavy wooden object falling downstairs, boom, 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 step after step. You know, maybe I should read Finnegan's Wake. Irish accent. That was legit funny. That is not how Irish sounds. That is maybe how Irish sounds. All right, here we go. Junk my thesis. Okay, obviously she's gonna junk her thesis. She's trying this, she's trying that, she can't make a choice. Now she's looking at the English major. She's just being an ordinary English major. Lots of requirements, I didn't have half of them. 18th century, my God, tight little couplets, being so dead keen on reason. Ugh, don't wanna read those couplets. Those couplets is like 2 lines of poetry, right? She doesn't wanna do the old English poetry. 4 quartets. Wait, who's 4 quartets? Trying to remember 4 quartets here. 4 quartets. Oh, of course, it's T.S. Eliot, I forgot. Yeah. Even worse, at the City College, you have to know Old English and the history of the English language, and you have to read Beowulf. She doesn't want to do that. She always looked down on her mother's college because it was co-ed, filled with people who couldn't go get scholarships to the big Eastern colleges. Quick historical background, because I'm actually reading a book about this. In the 1960s or 50s is where this time was taking place. That's when people really finally started to travel for college, where we actually started wanting to go to Harvard and stuff like that. So it was the very beginning of the social shift that has created the predicament that now we're all in. Now everyone is trying to go to the East Coast, and everyone is trying to get into those Ivy League schools. But this was really just the beginning of that movement. She was one of the early ones to go to the Eastern colleges. And she's not going to get a scholarship to go. I mean, compared to then, right, an intellectually gifted ADHD girl in 2024 has way more options, right? Way more options than back then. So I guess life is a little better. A little, yeah? Tell me if you disagree in the comments. But seems like it's better than the world that Sylvia Plath is living in now. Strong sleeping pills, kind of dangerous, kind of ominous. They don't work anymore. Teresa, 3 children. Aunt Libby. Teresa was the family doctor and also the sister-in-law of the aunt. Teresa was gentle, intuitive, maybe because she's Italian. Can't sleep, can't read, I think. Ooh, prescription, address, another doctor, Dr. Gordon, a psychiatrist. Here we go. We're finally getting into the psychiatrist. Okay. This is actually a great chapter to end on. I'm really excited to read about the psychiatrist. I am actually still confused about what the hell is happening with chapter 8. At the end of chapter 8, she's supposed to be stuck in a cast for a couple months because she gets injured. So what the hell, man? This is Buddy Willard. Sorry, so chapter 8, this is Mr. Willard driving up to the Adirondacks to see Buddy, and she goes and sees Buddy, and, Mr. Willard wants her to be together with Buddy, and they have like their time together, but she actually rejects him, right? If I remember correctly, how would you like to be Mrs. Buddy Willard? I had an awful impulse to laugh, and she really used to want that. I think I should tell you something, Buddy. I'm never gonna get married. No, my mind's made up. And you said. Here, keep going. I'm gonna have this crazy life. Let me have this crazy life with you. Buddy's being romantic, but she basically rejects him. And I thought she said something stronger to him. Now, and she's remembering. She tries to be an active person, like skiing and all that stuff. She's trying to imagine herself like with velocity, so she actually does do it. This is what it's like to be happy, skiing, moving quickly, and then she crashes, and then your leg's broken in 2 places. You're going to be stuck in a cast for months. So this whole thing happens, and then we just skip. I guess maybe we jumped forward. Maybe we skipped after. So because after in chapter 10 we get the whole part where Buddy sends her a letter, and she kind of brushes him off. Where was that? That was down here somewhere. Where's the letter? Okay, it doesn't really matter. But she says that she tells Buddy in the letter that Buddy says, if he tries to flirt with her basically, and says that if you come up, maybe I won't be that attracted to this nurse that I'm with. And then I said, I never wanted, and she tells Buddy she's engaged. She lies to him, says she's engaged with Constantine, and says that she never wants to see Buddy again. She doesn't want to she doesn't want to have a hypocrite father for her children, because Buddy had sex before, so that whole thing. So I guess we just skipped over the hospital episode, which is interesting. So we're just jumping around really quickly through these through chronology. I'm assuming we're not going back and forth, which is what I was expecting, which is what threw me off more. But I guess we're just skipping forward with this story. So we just completely skipped the entire 2 months in that hospital, I guess. So that's at least my tentative conclusion. Opportunity is there, but depends on the person. I forget what you're referring to. I wasn't really. I was kind of focused on trying to figure out what was happening between chapters 8 and 10 in terms of chronology. That's it for me today, though. This is me finally catching up. So I have chapters 11 through 15 to do, and then chapters 16 through 20 to do. But I'm finally kind of settled back in. I'm kind of settling back into my rhythm. It was really hard for me to keep up my rhythm when I was in New York, when I was in Toronto and Seattle. That was an insane 10 days. So It was really unrealistic for me to expect that I was going to be able to keep up the book club streams. So I'm just going to catch up as fast as possible so that I can move on with my summer prep. So you can look forward to that, chapters 11 to 15. I think I'm going to do 15 through us. I think I'm going to do 11 through 15 tomorrow. So within like maybe like hopefully I can start tomorrow morning, which is for me around 14 hours from now. We'll see how I can squeeze, how I can manage my time and my energy, because my sleep is still a little bit funky right now. It's been good to be in the States. Been good to see some friends and to attend a wedding in the family. So yeah, looking forward to getting back on track with the Bell Jar, which is, really not my cup of tea in terms of the kind of books that I normally read. But it's been interesting just seeing this sort of sort of archetypal images of smart girl tries to do society and struggles and maybe fails. We're seeing that right now in the 1950s, and we're seeing that play out. So I'm doing a little bit of time travel, learning a little bit about that society at that time, and having some horrific experiences of near rape. Jesus. And now I'm gonna guess we're gonna get even more horrific experiences of the psychiatric institutions of the time. So looking forward to being horrified. All right, that's it for me for today. I'll see you guys in the next stream. Until next time, keep on learning, keep on growing. Peace.